Good evening. Welcome to the Monday, May 1st, 2017 Parks Recreation Commission meeting. We're calling the meeting to order at 6:37 p.m. and we're in the Faulkner Room on the second floor of the Nathan Green Community Center. To my left is Sue Robbins, Commission member. To Sue's right, to my right is Sue Robbins.
I wasn't going to say
Commission member. To Sue's right is Claire Kincaid Dunn. To Claire's right is Diane Van Steenberger. And to Diane's right is Mark Coppola. And to my left is Judy Sullivan, Commission member. To Judy's left is Rick Maynard, Director of the Parks and Recreation Department. To Rick's left is Catherine Stewart, the Commission recording secretary. And behind the camera, looking directly at us, is Peter Schultz, our videographer. And anticipated very shortly is John Jagelski, Commission member, stuck in traffic. Item 2 on the agenda, public forum. Anyone who has any comments? Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, Joan was supposed to be here, but she might be delayed. A group of us.
Why don't you come up here?
Huh.
Then you'll be on television.
A group of us went to...
Just your name.
My name is Dwayne Orlowski. I live on Blanks Boulevard in North Kilford. I just wanted to let the Commission know that we sent a contingent of people to the Connecticut Federation of Lakes conference this past weekend. 27 different lake associations were in attendance in Connecticut. Oh, yeah, and it was held at the Agricultural Center, Agricultural Extension. Where's Greg work? Yeah. Agricultural Extension Service in New Haven. It was very informative. Greg gave a very interesting speech on the state of of lakes in the state of Connecticut and the invasive weed problem. And he wasn't really encouraging. So a lot of Connecticut lakes, 61% of all the lakes in the state have at least one invasive weed in it. One of the big problems that they're having is the lack of state funding. Connecticut's probably one of the few states in New England that doesn't provide funding for supporting invasive weed problems in lakes in the state. So one of the things he was really encouraging the lake associations to really put a little pressure on their state legislators to see about restoring the funding that had been in place. There was a grant program through DEEP that seems to have been cut. So we're, as an association, one of the things that we're looking to do is work with the Connecticut Federation of Lakes and looking to see if we could do some lobbying in the state, because I think that's what they've identified as one of the big problems, is there is nobody really advocating for this issue. And also encouraging the towns where the lakes are to help do some of that lobbying as well. So I'd really encourage the Commission to when they do have opportunities to talk to state legislators to see about getting them to understand the need for supporting lakes as a resource in the state and putting some funding in to help control the weed problem. Because without doing that, the natural tendency of all lakes is to fill in, and without doing our work to help curtail that process, so we still have them as recreational venues for the town, it's what's going to happen. So we need to do that, and I really thank the Commission for putting that into the budget, and really taking some leadership in dealing with the problem. I think I don't know if he's going to report on it today, but the treatments that we've done so far have worked really well. Greg Bugby in his presentation did, I think, on benthic barriers and really talked about Rick's use of them on the beach, and he was totally astonished that they worked as well as they did. So he said, I got to find out why, because he doesn't think it's just light, but
It's the way they're installed.
yeah, it must be the way they're installed. But whatever it is, he's actually going to take on doing a study, because they work so well that he thinks that's really could be a possible solution. One of the things he was going to recommend, we were talking with him, is to look at the possibility of maybe borrowing some of the barriers to use at a different part of the lake later in the season to see if they would have any impact. But that's something he needs to discuss with Rick. Also, she's not here, but she, probably at the next meeting, she brought enough copies, and I can leave this one for you. Greg Bugbee just did updated a really nice publication on invasive weeds in the state of Connecticut, very educational. So I can leave this copy with you, but she picked up a stack of them so that every member of the commission could have a copy of their own. Great. Okay. Thank you very much.
And I know there's grim news when you said that the incidence of invasive weeds has increased, and yet the funding is flat or non-existent. As we know, in this business, in this state, sometimes the crisis, it has to reach a crisis level with more people involved. In this case,
Elaborate a little bit. One of the things that Greg pointed out was that his agency has $0 for lake support.
Mm-hmm.
That all the money that he get, any money he gets, he's either has volunteers doing it, or through projects like ours where he supported it, he's been able to do lake surveys as part of the permit process to keep that up. But there is another thing that we found out at the association. There's a couple of federal programs, and some association is doing it, of having citizens do lake monitoring. So one of the things that the Friends are going to look into is maybe take that on as one of our projects of buying the equipment and doing at least bi-weekly monitoring of the lake in regard to temperature, clarity, and there's some data gathered on the condition of the lake throughout the year, which it just can't be done any other way. So that's something we're exploring over the next month.
yeah, and I think it's great that you're broadening your interest and your scope beyond Lake Quantipoc by affiliating with the Connecticut Lakes Commission, if I said that correctly.
It's the Connecticut Federation of Lakes. It's a
Connecticut
nonprofit.
Federation of Lakes. So, among all of you, you have a stronger voice. You speak with one voice, not just one voice.
Right.
Like how are other towns with lakes dealing with this as well? Like, is it something that we can all get together, and then, is that the Federal Lakes Association, that we can all go to the state and
No,
say?
this is a state organization.
Okay.
Just Connecticut.
Okay.
There's they are sort of tangentially affiliated with other federal, national organizations, but it's great opportunity, because through this you can also find out what other states are doing.
Right.
One of the things that Greg pointed out is that probably in his mind the two states that are doing a really good job are New Hampshire and Wisconsin. Both have really great programs that through cooperation of the towns and the state to really keep the lakes in good health.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something we're hoping to get some more information on.
That's great. Thank you very much. Agenda item 3A, correspondence. Vic, you've received or sent 2 memos, one to Tony Anicelli and another joint memo to Ellen Clow, Corey Patrick, Jennifer Gott, and Bonnie Moore. You don't have to read them if you don't want to. It's just recognition of the staff and what they've done in recent major events of the department. Item number 4, approval of the April 2017 minutes. Is there a motion to approve the April 3rd, 2017 minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any corrections? Omissions? when I say additions, it doesn't mean anything that wasn't spoken about or referred to at the meeting, but anything that might have been omitted. If not, all in favor of approving the minutes of May 1st, 2017, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Agenda item, excuse me, 5, review and approval of the expenditures for April 2017 in the grand total amount of $93,384.46. Okay, let's make a motion to get it on the table to discuss it.
Make a motion?
Second? Okay, any questions, corrections, inquiries?
My only question is, because I'm still fairly new to this, so if reading this, Rick, the Constellation Utilities Community Center Electric, is the amount of $1723.38. And then if you go down, you also see Eversource Community Center. What is the difference between the two electric? Are these both electric bills, or are these?
Constellations, we would gather to Starlight, and we. Constellation it's a contract the town has with it's a company. I'm not sure where they're from, but it used to be I forgot what the old company was, but anyway, it's a contract the town has with the company. It's part of the whole deal. It's not really just a community center, but we put it under that because we have to put it somewhere rather than try to split it all up between all the accounts. We just put it under one heading. But it really it's a contract the town has for electrical supply. I don't know exactly how it all works. It's all through the finance department. But we and then the other one is specifically the community center. The one is down the 2,231. Yeah.
Okay. And then I just had another question with just for supplies. I just noticed that, I just wondered why it just always seems like supplies are ordered every week or every couple of days, and just
Which ones are you
wondered,
looking at?
just basically like page 2, the bottom,
Staples.
the staples. Just curious, is it a monthly supplies that's just kind of, you think about ahead of time of what you might need, or just things come up?
Yeah, well, kind of both. Those are probably the dates that the bills came in, so, Todd might have ordered them, a week before or something. But we also have limited storage, so we don't, he can't store stuff for a whole month. We don't have enough room, so maybe every 2 weeks he's got to order garbage bags, or.
That's what I was wondering, why not just kind of buy in bulk and maybe be
just
able to have them, so you don't
storage
have to
space.
keep ordering, because that's a time process
And we don't
as well.
get charged like a big delivery fee, so
Okay.
it's not like if we did, we would figure a way to try to stack from floor to ceiling, but
Absolutely.
we have one custodial closet really, and there's just not a lot of room, and that's where all the vacuum cleaners are kept and buffers, everything else, there's just not a lot of space. Yeah.
And then just the painting,
Yeah, I was looking at that too, there's a lot of paint, a lot of those,
The Lake Quantapug,
yeah.
and then, I guess because it's not itemized, I just kind of wonder, is it Lake Quantapug, is it for the rec center, is it
The
for?
first set there, they're mostly in December and January, those are the community center.
Okay.
In Lake Quantapug, some of this is, we've picked up, some of it the facilities crew has picked up, but they're doing it for us, so we pay the bill for it. But a lot of that, some of it may be parks, but there was a lot, we put a coat of primer on the bathhouse at Lake Quantapug, and then 2 coats. And actually, we have a little left over, so we put 3 coats on the front of the building, because it gets the most sunlight facing the sort of south, the east there. And it really gets beat up a lot with the sun. So, yeah, I mean, I was looking at that thing, gee, how many times do guys keep running back and forth? But it was, especially the primer, it was soaking in like crazy, and they thought they had what they needed, had to go get some more, and then the coats of paint. But Todd, I was going to mention that in my report, that Todd was up there doing this, and one of our maintenance guys, and one of the guys from the facilities department, so we had their help getting that all painted up there.
A lot of them look like they might be a gallon at a time.
Yeah, or some, and brushes and tarps, things like that, some of the smaller ones, like the $14, they had to scrape, so it might have been a scraper, some of the stuff.
And this time of year, we typically have these kind of projects anyway, so we
Yeah.
tend to see paint in the spring or
But
end
that
of the
first
season.
grouping, all that was community center. And again, it may be the date the bill was written, not necessarily the date that Todd went and got it.
It's our job's question. That's all. That's, yeah.
On the last page, under New England, 595 New England Road, it has an item, New England Road Fire Protection,
I have that too.
but then it has Connecticut Water
you know
next
what?
to it, but there's nothing there.
Right.
Well, that's what it is, it's the sprinkler system. The fire protection is, we get a bill, I think it's quarterly. I know here it's quarterly. It's sprinkler system, so there's a separate bill, separate from water.
Water is
Yeah.
sprinklers.
Right.
That can't be for water use, though.
That's not water use, that's, if it's fire protection, that's just, the quarterly bill that we,
And that water bill is still high. It always seems, how do we, like, the water bill for the 595 New England Road is very similar to like the water bill at Jacobs Beach. So I can't understand, there's no showers or anything there, correct?
No, it's just,
That's what I just don't-
water fountain, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And there are other bills that came in after this was printed, so we don't have those yet. I know the security alarm bill came in, which is usually about $140 a month, I think. And what was the other one? Gas. I think they came in Friday, maybe. So we don't have it for this report.
Any other questions? All in favor of approving the amount of $93,384.46, the April 2017 bills, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 6, department reports. Rick, Director.
Well, I'll highlight a couple. Number 9, the Earth Fest. Ellen had that in her report too. Staff did a great job. This is what those letters were that I wrote, the memos to staff. We had a couple maintenance guys there, and Ellen, Corey, Jennifer, and Bonnie did a tremendous job putting it together. Unfortunately, it rained. Wasn't great weather. But for the town cleanup day, which was part of that, there were 50 different groups that were part of the town cleanup day. We had a couple large dumpsters. One of them was, I'd say, maybe 2/3 full, from people bringing the stuff from the roadsides and beaches and parks. I don't know the exact number. We probably had about roughly 150, 200 people came. We were hoping for 500, but again, it was a dreary, not good day. But the vendors, there were 35, I believe, vendors. They seemed to all be pleased with, the people did come and visit them. And most of the vendors had something to do with like a farm market type thing, or they had natural products, or, whatever. It was all kind of Earth Fest related stuff. And we had Tom T-Bone Stankus doing entertainment on the stage for kids. And he was happy. I think everyone thought it was a great idea. The Agricultural Society co-sponsored with us, and they, we did it at the fairgrounds at their invitation. The people with the Tripledale Farm, the group that has the donkey rides. Those donkeys were going all the time, and so. I think people were very overall pleased. It was a great idea, and I think if the weather was better, it would have been a really good crowd. Big expansion from what we started last year. Corey started this last year on the green.
That's what I was gonna say. Last year was nice. This year, it's just a shame it rained.
Yeah.
But still, quite a few people were there
Right.
and enjoying what there was to see.
And Channel 8 covered it. They covered the promotion of it. They asked me to come and meet with them early in the morning, so it was on live 3 times on Saturday morning to encourage people to come to the event.
Do you remember the times so you don't?
5:36.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah, it
that,
was
you
early.
don't say, we're here this morning, or?
Yeah, right. But it was a good event, and again, I give all the credit to the program staff, plus Bonnie, for, they worked hard to get a nice big event, bigger than what we've had before there, and it was well worth the effort, and I think that, again, if the weather was good, we would have had a good turnout. It's also the same day as Little League opening day and the Little League parade,
Right.
so there are people, like
Yeah.
some who weren't able to come because they had kids in Little League, and, you know, Earth Day is Earth Day, we can't really change the date, but hopefully better weather next year.
Rick, why don't you highlight number one for the benefit of our friends from Lake Quantipoc and also for the record?
Okay. I was gonna, yeah, we'll do that now if you want. So we installed Greg Bugby, who's been just such a great asset to us. I mean, he wrote the book that he just passed out here, and he and one of his young staff, along with one of our maintenance guys, well, two of our guys, Tony, one of our seasonal guys, and myself, we were out there putting those blankets out on Thursday. And we got it done in about, I think, 3 hours, less than 4. It was definitely quicker than last year, because now that we're so experienced. We've done it twice now. And yeah, yes, that's right. Yeah, with the wind, it was a real mess last year trying to do it. I almost got blown off the boat. But it was really calm when we started. The wind kicked up a little bit, got a little choppy, once we got going. But overall, it was a better day to do it. And and on top of that, we had 5 more we put down. We ordered 5 more this year. So we have 26 benthic blankets out there as opposed to 21. So even putting more out, we really got done faster than we did the year before. A lot of it had to do with the conditions, not being choppy and windy. So those are down, and we'll pull them out right before Memorial Day. We'll have just make it 4 weeks. That's just about what we did last year. Pretty much the same time. I think we put them down around the same date. We took them out right before Memorial Day. So that would be the plan again this year. And also, the permit application is in for, the plan is to redo what we did last year with the invasive weeds. We still have some money from that grant still available to us. We didn't spend it all, so we're going to pretty much do the same thing. The 10 acres on the north end of the lake by the boat ramp area, and then into the north into the lake, south, but the north part of the lake. And then the 8 acres around that shallow shoal area. We're going to hit basically the same thing we did last year, we're going to do again. And so that permit we have to request, and we're requesting permit for phase 2, the south end of the lake where the lily pads are. And that would be, after July, we would do that. And so we already have some quotes from a company to do it, so we know what the cost will be. I hope to go to next Board of Selectmen meeting to ask them to approve All Habitat, which is the company that did the last round, come back and do it again for both phases, the next part of phase 1 and then phase 2. So that's all we're working on, and hopefully we're ready to go as soon as that permit comes in. Wayne mentioned, Greg was really pleased with the results last year of the benthic blankets, and I think the north end of the lake was pretty much quite a bit better. When we looked at it in the fall, it was a big improvement with the weeds. But, they're going to come back. And so we thought, well, let's hit them again. We still got some money. Let's do it again. And, the next year, it's south end of the lake, focus on that. Probably we'll have to rotate back up to the north end again a year or 2 later. But it's not, none of this is permanent. It's like, if you're trying to treat dandelions in your yard, you get rid of them 1 year, they're back a year or 2 years later. So it's pretty much the same thing.
Those blankets can only stay down for a certain amount of time. Is that correct, for them to be effective?
Well, a minimum of 4 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're out on the same, right in front of the beach area
Yes.
again, right?
Yeah, we expanded a little bit, we went a little bit to both sides a little to cut back weeds that are, eventually they encroach in, so we went outside the swim area a bit. And we had one left over, and so we went to we put it in perpendicular. The other ones go from the road out toward, from the beach out. And so we had one more, and so Greg thought, there was one spot he thought we should put it, so we went perpendicular, parallel to the road, perpendicular to the other one, so we had another 50 feet that were covered in a sort of the deeper area. So we'll see how that works, and it did work well. And we definitely did a better job overlapping because we didn't have the waves and everything this time. Last time we had some gaps, and it looked like a mohawk. We took it up, we had tall weeds growing up in a few spots, and Gray came in.
It also looked like you were out on the high seas last year.
Yeah, yeah. That's right, you came out to watch for a while last year, yeah,
Winter,
yeah.
I had to leave.
Well, you saw me, it was almost like I was on a hang glider, taking off. That was fun.
Did any of the residents buy blankets to put down?
I don't know, do you know, Dwayne, did anybody buy them?
I purchased two, I haven't installed them yet. But muck mats, they're benthic barriers, but they're also designed so you can put on top of muck and walk on the muck without sinking in.
Different product, yeah.
I'm gonna be the test for that.
Dual purpose.
But I've been waiting, because I had a pair of swans nesting off my dock, and I didn't wanna bother them, they just had their chicks, so that should be okay. Egret, and there was an egret, no, the swans had a chick. Yeah.
One thing else I'll just mention, number 15, we're going to put some buoys at Jacobs Beach to demarcate the swim area. It's not going to be roped like Quanapog, but it was an issue last year when I saw people swimming out in the no-wake buoy, which is 600 feet out. And if somebody had a problem out there, our lifeguards could not get to them. It's way too far out. And so there's nothing to let people know, don't go past this point. So we're going to get 3 of them and just kind of spread them across. Again, not rope it off or anything, but just have individual buoys, so it's a visual. People know that in a lifeguard Z, you can't go past that. The difficult thing is not knowing exactly where they're going to go, because we got to go put them far enough out that you can swim in low tide, but not so far out that lifeguards can't get to them. So I don't know what that point is yet. We'll have to kind of go on a kayak in low tide, kind of see where that makes sense. But anyway, we need to do a permit for that, which I've just completed filling out. Jennifer, our new program coordinator, Jen started it for me, helping out, and I had to complete some things, and we're ready to submit it to DEP and get permit for that. Hey, John.
Hi there. By the way, the commission recognizes John Jagelski making a stage right entrance.
Safe.
That's 7:03.
That's too steep.
Glad you could make it, John.
Thank you.
No red lights up Quantified.
No, no liquid.
Rick, when those buoys are out there, if someone swims beyond it and the lifeguards see them, are they going to?
Blow whistles, yeah, tell they gotta come in, we have a bullhorn, yeah, tell, that's what happened when they were way out at that wake marker. I said to the lifeguard, you gotta tell that person to come in, you're not getting to them if there's a problem. Yeah.
Floating out to Scandinavia.
Yeah.
6B, report of Park Foreman, Tony Anicelli.
You're busy,
Yep.
as always.
6C, report of the Recreation Supervisor, Ellen Clow. I just ask you to comment on one thing, Rick, and that's the third rather from the bottom. Met with Rick and Mike Papp, new golf professional at Guilford Lakes.
Yeah, well, he
Tell us
wanted to
whatever
meet
you
us,
can.
so we met with him, he did want us to help promote golf lessons that he's doing, and so we actually gave the information to Tracy Brinkman in the Selectman's office to get it like on the town's Facebook page, or town's website, I'm sorry, and the Facebook page. But he's wants to help. He wants help promoting the lessons and things that he's trying to offer there in tournaments and so on. He just started a few weeks ago, I think, and so he's trying to establish a presence at the golf course there, and working on something with some food vendors, and I think they're working to try to get more people to come and use the golf course. It is a beautiful facility.
Can I just go back, I thought of this
Go ahead.
after,
Sure.
for Tony's Parks Foreman's report. Whatever was the final decision on the Guilford High School sloped area to keep them from needing to put
No,
themselves
we're not
in
going to mow
danger?
it. I sent an email to the principal, Rick Mazzenti, and let him know we can't mow it, and it's been pretty much by directive of our insurance company. The insurance company didn't say you can't mow it. They did, in a sense. They said, find out what the maximum slope rating is for our mowers for the manufacturer, which we did, and that slope was beyond what they recommend. So the answer is we can't safely mow it with our equipment. And so, but what I told them we can do is, as we did last year, we apply a growth retardant or growth inhibitor, so the grass grows a lot slower. And we put that down about once every 4 weeks, so maybe 3 or 4 times we'd have to put it down during the summer. And that slows the growth down.
So then do you string trim it, or what do you do?
No, we're just
Let it be?
let it be.
Okay.
And then hopefully, I think in the long run, we've had some conversation about this, is that something else probably should get planted there.
Yeah.
A ground cover, junipers or something, because it is,
It's dangerous.
it's beyond what we can really do safely.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Aside from the grass itself, and it puts, the department and the commission clearly on the record about that,
Right.
as far as any liability at all.
Mm.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Sees the landscape.
yeah, good point. Yeah, I should do that. But I think that, I'm not sure it's our responsibility to plant it, because this is,
No.
when that was being designed, I mentioned this was going to be a problem. We were going to have a problem mowing that, and I
Yeah.
made that clear to people, and something else has to be done.
It's in their hands.
Yeah.
6D, Senior Program Coordinator Report, Terry Holland Buckley. Anything you care to highlight there?
Oh,
As usual, it's very self-explanatory and comprehensive.
Yeah, well, you see the things coming up, May is a very busy month. You can see all those things coming up. And you can also see the increase in the bus trips from January, February. Look at March, 610 trips. It's, about 120 more than the previous month. And the number of passengers was up by 200. You can see the mile increase, passenger miles, odometer miles. So it was, March really picked up a lot. And our meals were more meals in March of 2017 versus 2016 too. And one of the highlights, Cinco de Mayo's coming up on Friday. It's always a big event. And the seniors prom, on May 19th. Usually Terry gets some of the kids from one of the high school clubs. I think it's CARE, I believe is the name of the club. They work with senior citizens, do volunteer work. And she usually gets a group of those kids to come and help out. They decorate, and the boys will help dance with the ladies, because there's usually more women than men, and so it's a good event.
Do the women stand on one side of the room and the men on the other, like? Maybe it was just me.
Glaring at each other.
No.
You're gonna have to go check it out for yourself.
It'll bring back bad memories.
Flashbacks.
You need some guys to dance with the ladies.
Mr. Cole's dance school, oh my gosh, at Adams
The boys
School.
on one side and the
Girls
girls
on
on
the
the other,
other.
and then it was
go.
like,
Oh, torture.
And now, when we used to have junior high dances, you want to separate the boys and girls a little bit. Jack, if I could, I forgot, on Ellen's report, I just want to mention that the fishing derby is this Saturday. I neglected to check how many people are signed up at this point, but usually we have a pretty good crowd. We'll have to see how the weather is. I mean, right now the forecast doesn't look, it looks terrible for Friday into Saturday, so one year we did it in the rain, but we had a very small turnout, so, I'll talk with staff. I'll have to decide if we're going to postpone it to another date if it's not a good day. But the plan is for May 13th at Mill Pond. So, there's quite a bit of fish in there. We used to stock it with trout, and we spent quite a bit stocking, and nobody ever caught one. I mean, they would,
Yeah,
They hear-
this monster
they hear
down there eating them?
they hear the kids, and they run, they go up the other way. They go up the river, I think. And we spent a lot, maybe $800,000 stocking it with trout, and nobody ever caught one there, so.
800,000?
800 to 1,000.
Oh.
Yeah, not 800,000, no, yeah. 800 dash.
Rewind that, please.
They were goldfish, okay? They're very expensive.
Oh, my goodness. Breaking the tension of these meetings, right?
Oh, you did, John, when you walked in like that. That was quite an entrance. Remember, Loretta Young, or were you too young?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were, oh, okay. It was a television program.
That's right.
Oh, okay. Before your time.
Yes.
Agenda item 7, report of commission slash staff representatives to commissions. 7A, Standing Fields Committee. Rick?
Still working on pretty much the same thing that, been reporting for a couple of months, the Cox Field project. It is coming along, the contractor's been back, he did take a lot of the rocks out.
It looks better, much, much better, significantly
And
better.
reseeding, refertilizing, the field, the north field, the one to the right, the sodded field's been played on. We always expected to open that for the spring. The other one, we never planned on opening for the spring, we knew it wouldn't be ready, but the bare areas, he's reseeded the whole thing, actually, and refertilizing, so we're gonna keep watching that, see how that's working. We're also still working with, trying to push the contractor on the sod field at the high school. There's still some issues with drainage there, trying to get them to come back. It's really in the hands of the high school building committee, and they are now putting pressure on them to come and do that work. And then the last thing I'll mention regarding fields is the youth, Guilford Youth Lacrosse and Guilford Youth Football. I might have mentioned this last month. They're paid for a netting that's going up at the high school, the new sod field at the high school, because on the west end of that field, there's somebody's yard, like, right behind it.
Yeah, there's private property right
Yeah, and so they're paying for the netting. We're not paying at all for it, but they're using it, and they've agreed to pay for it. So the footings are put in, they're poured, the sleeves, and the poles, weather permitting, should be going up this week, and that should be up this week. So I was up there when they were putting the sleeves in last week. Just had to let the concrete harden enough before they put the poles in.
Just an overall condition of the fields, just going around these, Little League opening up and soccer, everything is in great shape right
Yeah.
now. I mean, it is, we regret having all the rain, but the rain has just made the fields lush, and it's much better than what it was a year ago.
Yeah.
Significantly better.
The downside of it, though, is that because of all the rain, some of the fields we haven't been able to mow. And so I always stay in communication with all the youth sports groups, and we told them everything was open Friday after the rain Thursday, I guess. That everything was playable, but I just wanted to let them know some of the grass was high. We just can't mow it. It's maybe okay to run on it, but we can't get on it with a mower without leaving ruts. Long Hill especially, and which one? Yeah, Baldwin, that's it, yeah. Long Hill and Baldwin were the two that we couldn't, and I specifically stated those two we couldn't mow. We mowed, there was a men's team playing at Bidner on Sunday morning, and I emailed them today, asked, well, how'd the game, everything go all right? So, yeah, but the grass was a little high. We mowed it Friday, and on Sunday, they thought the grass was a little high. And we just aren't at a point where we can mow these fields twice a week. We have too many. And when you got rain 2 or 3 days in a week, and we got more this week, some of the guys stayed late 1 or 2 days last week just to try to catch up. And so I just want to let the groups know, you can use the field. They're not squishy wet. You can play on them. But in some cases, the grass is a little bit high. I'd rather be proactive, let them know that, than get a call on Monday that, the fields are terrible, the grass. But, they've all been great. They all understand. We're doing the best we can do, and we're under the mercy of whatever happens outside.
Mother Nature.
Yeah. So, but overall, the fields do look good, don't they?
They do, they're fantastic.
Well, that's not by accident either, because there's a lot of hard work that goes into that. The rain helps, but they really work hard. They all should get a big kudos for that.
7B, Green Committee.
Green Committee, mostly at the last meeting, they addressed the Board of Selectmen have approved a set of guidelines that the police department came up with regarding groups that might have alcohol on the green. And it was a specific request from the Guilford Arts Center for the Handcrafts Fair. And it said alcohol, and one of the things that we clarified was beer and wine, so they're not serving like Yukon Jack or something or whatever, some whiskey or something out there. Made it clear, and there was a lot of discussion about it, and, but the Green Committee looked at the policy. They were thankful that the Board of Selectmen wanted them to look at it, to have some input on it, and then they had a few changes and a couple, I'm gonna say corrections, but suggestions for changes, and I guess the Board of Selectmen, I think they did approve whatever they were, so. They're gonna build right into the policy now that if there's a group requesting it, it has to still be approved by the Board of Selectmen, of course, and then, they can approve or not approve. Not every group's gonna necessarily get permission to have, there's very strict guidelines. They have to go through, I forgot what it's called, there's some initials, but some kind of special training that like a bartender has to go to, that they have to, somebody who's, whatever that training is, people are letting the people into the roped-off area have to have that training. Some very strict guidelines that have to be followed and adhered to. So that was most of the conversation at the last meeting was about that.
7C Land Acquisition Commission. I attended the meeting last month and spoke very briefly about the disc golf course, AKA Frisbee Golf Course. And we're meeting again this week, and I'll speak a little more about it. And nothing specific, but I just want to start to reach out to the different constituent groups in this town, so that the more that know about it, presumably the more will be supportive of it and knowledgeable about it too. Agenda item 8, unfinished business. 8A, repairs and refurbishing of the community center.
Well, Rose isn't here, but I think the only thing I'll mention, because again, Todd's been spending a lot of time up helping paint the bathhouse up Lake Quantipoc, but here, if you notice, in this room, he redid all these corners, repainted here, and he's been doing something you wouldn't really notice so much, some plumbing work, some of the, like in the ladies' room downstairs, one of the sinks was constantly dripping. It's not something you would really notice all that much, but it's dripping, and I think there's a little leak in one of the pipes, a pinhole leak. So he repaired that. There's another one in one of the staff bathrooms, same thing. It was just a little bit, the pipes are old now, they're starting to get little pinholes. And he repaired that, and I think he has 2 more he's got to do. Excuse me. He's also, tomorrow, I think, or later this week, we have, Todd is also responsible for the bathrooms outside of here, like at Lake Quantipoc, Jacobs, and, excuse me, Bittner. And we have a substantial leak in a couple of the urinals at Bittner Park that I think when you flush, they keep running and flowing over. And unfortunately, the facilities crew just did a great job painting the floor 2 weeks ago. And now there's water on the floor, and part of it's going to have to get repainted probably. So Todd asked for my permission to order some parts, which he did, and we'll have them this week. He's going to go up and fix those. In fact, I had him put a sign on it today, said the urinals are out of order because they leak like crazy. And so, and actually I think he shut them down so you can't use them anyway. Actually, I think he took them off the wall, so you really can't use them. If you do, you got a problem.
Why you just lock the door?
They're not where they belong.
There's always a treat.
Well, there is still, another unit that can be used in there for the guys, but anyway, Todd's a handy guy, and his responsibilities are beyond our building. I mean, part of his job description is the bathrooms, and he with Steve from the facilities department are going to replace the plumbing up there this week.
8B, Jacobs Beach Boardwalk Extension.
I don't really have anything that's different from last week, last month. When I spoke to Will Thompson, he was working through the process, having received the DEP okay for the permit. So he was doing the internal work to move the project forward, and those steps are just in sequence. So I think, having not heard anything, that they're moving along. He said he'd let me know if, there was anything that we had to jump in on.
Great.
So just keep moving forward. That's going to be great, because it's
Yes.
been a long time coming and needed and wanted by residents. So we're looking forward to getting that going in the fall.
So am I.
Yeah.
Just another question about Jacobs. The parking lot, I was there a couple weeks ago, needed some.
You lose fillings going there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've talked to Jim Porley. He's hoping to get the Public Works crew there next week to do it. The problem is, he said we need 2 or 3 days in a row without rain. I guess, sitting water or puddles in there or whatever, it's gotta be relatively dry. So he's hoping to get him out there next week if, the weather works. If it doesn't, if he can't do it, I've already initiated a conversation with a contractor to try to get them there if we can't get Public Works. But he's hoping to get it next week. All of them, all the parking lots, at like Nut Plains, Quantapug, Chittenden, and Jacobs.
They're bad.
Yeah. And I also want to give credit to John Cunningham. He got a group down there that did all the, improved the landscaping. If you saw all the mulch, they remulched all that. The areas where the junipers died out, they replanted with more of the beach grasses. Those are doing well there. The junipers weren't in that particular area. Some areas down there, junipers are doing great, but that one spot, they died out. Maybe there's too much salt water underneath or something, but he replanted with some grasses. And they pulled all the weeds. They did a really nice job. It looks beautiful. So the only thing we have to work on is those potholes. Get those done. That'd be good.
But if Portland can't get to it, we shouldn't have to incur that expense to get those. I mean, just because if we're going outside, that's gonna cost us money versus the town doing it with the town money. So why would Portland not be able to do it, but another contractor would if there's no rain?
I think
With the
it's
same
also
rule,
time-wise
with
with
the-
other projects they're working on. He's trying to fit it in with the projects, other stuff he's doing.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I kind of have a problem with that because we shouldn't have to expend outside funds to do something that the town always does, and just because we're low on the list. Granted, they're busy doing a lot of places, but we should not have to be expending any funds to do that.
Even the liability too, can't it? I mean, large potholes like that?
They're big.
That's- yeah.
They're big. No matter what,
Setting
we buy the
yourself up.
stone anyway, we pay for the stone, and they usually do the work
They
for
do
us.
the work for us.
Yeah. Well, I spoke with him again today, and, just see where we are with that. 'Cause we spoke last Thursday, maybe, and he said they'll try to get to it, next week.
So what, is it that, what are they doing, I guess, is the question.
I don't know. I don't even.
We don't
that's-
know.
I mean, all those
And if-
places are gonna become really well populated with the
They're
weather.
gonna be,
They
and
really
it's
are.
bad now.
Yeah,
so it's-
yeah.
But if he has to wait for the
it's the
weather
weather,
to be
there's-
dry,
This-
But why would
It's not
another
his
company,
fault.
they'd have the same problem, wouldn't they?
Well, the other company, I don't think was gonna get to it this week either, I mean, we
No,
gotta
but
get on
would
their
that
list.
same 3-day waiting thing
I would
still
think, yeah.
apply?
Yeah.
I don't know, I think we need to work on that, because we should not have to go outside to get that done, but that's just me.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
I don't know how,
if anybody else feels differently.
I think there's not much more I can do, other than, from department head to department head, try to encourage them to do it. Yeah.
Go take
Well,
one of their bulldozers and do it.
It's better to be proactive to get it done before someone breaks an
Right.
ankle and breaks an axle from their car, or a child trips in one of those huge potholes and split the lip open, or whatever else that could happen, but they're bad, they're really bad.
Yeah, well, they're bad at all of them.
It's gonna become more popular, especially like Nut Plains, when does that ramp up for all
Right.
those games?
Yeah.
it has.
It has.
It has.
It's already started.
I also
That's
talked about your
the problem.
idea of trying to make a separate exit, and he's looking at that too.
Good,
Yeah.
okay.
Next week, according to the Weather Channel, and this is, but it's 50% or greater Tuesday through the following Monday.
Of rain.
So
Of rain.
6 days, 7 days straight, 50% or greater, for now, right? I mean, that's subject to change in the next hour, but
Well, is there, I mean, I know that it's not fixing the problem, but is there a temporary Band-Aid of just filling the potholes with some crushed stone, at least to level them? That the ones that are really bad, at least, just to, I mean, if you're down there, you're down there. It seems like a second wasted trip, but is there anything we can do temporarily
To
that
prioritize that.
prioritizes
Yeah.
getting it
We-
done so that we don't have to worry about the 3-day rain
Fill 'em, but,
period?
yeah, I think they like to grade them too, they bring their grader or their
That's-
big loader and they
That's the ultimate
scrape it all.
repair, but
Yeah.
as a temporary patch, is just to get some stone in the
Let
holes.
me, I gotta call
because-
John Cunningham about the high school anyway. I'll,
Not that we want that solution to be the delay of getting them done correctly, but if the rain is an issue and timeline and people using it,
yeah.
could this be a temporary solution to at least?
Well, they won't be using it in the rain.
Well, no, but, it can still rain and they have games when it's kind of rainy.
I was
I've sat
down
in a
there
lot of games
Saturday,
where
there were
it's
about
raining.
50 people down there.
Yeah, and people go down.
Yeah.
maybe it doesn't rain in the morning, so people are there, but by afternoon it rains, so people are gonna be in and out of there regardless of the weather. On to disc golf? Wait, done? I'm done with Jacobs. Yeah,
Okay.
I've beaten that up a bit.
8C, disc golf.
Well, the bad news is that Ben Seibel, the guy we've been working with, is going to be going to Alabama.
Long distance.
Yeah, I think that's where he's from anyway, but he's going to be, at some point he's moving back down there, and he said he wouldn't want to start it with us and then not be able to complete it. So he gave me the name of another guy who is actually the national disc golf champion. He designs golf courses, disc golf courses. I spoke with him today, actually, and asked if he can come up. He lives in New York somewhere, and see if he'd be willing to come and take a look at the area and see if he has the same view, that opinion that Ben had, and get an idea of what it would cost for him to design. He's designed a lot of them, I guess, and some of them are like nationally recognized disc golf courses. I'm not sure we need to that level necessarily. I don't know if they were looking for like, high-level professional play, but I'd like to have him come take a look, and I talked about some of the ideas we had, and, we're looking for a lot of volunteer help with it, and he's aware of the guy that Ben had told me about who played at our tournament here at the golf course. It's an arborist, a tree guy from Durham. At our tournament, he had said he'd be willing to come down and for nothing and take down any trees that have to come down and clear those areas, whatever has to be done, he would do it. So I'm trying to get his contact, but this guy I spoke with today knows who he is too, and he's going to talk to him, see what level of involvement he's willing to have, because he's close, he's right here in Durham. And if he's willing to help in some way, then maybe between the two of them, we get a nice design and get it done. The other news is that originally we had a Boy Scout who was willing to do the tees as an Eagle project. He has changed his mind. He wants to do a different project. Put up guardrails at Chittenden Park, like we have at Jacobs Beach, which we really need anyway because we got those old ugly telephone poles down there. So he's got to come to the commission anyway. So, whatever project you want to do, you got to get commission approval for it.
It seems though, with an Eagle Scout project, that would require 18 tees.
Right.
And they would probably be either grass tees or dirt tees, as opposed to, say, concrete tees
Right.
or rubberized tees. And I looked at the Wallingford course last week. I think Mark might have been going up there at another time too. And they had a balance between cement, concrete tees, and basically dirt tees. And a lot of the dirt tees were muddy. And I'm just wondering whether a dirt tee, is advantageous to somebody who's going to be throwing discs. So I'd even think that before designer comes up here to meet with you, that we let him know what we'd like. What are we looking for? 18 tees, 18 holes, 9 holes. What type of audience do we want to attract? Is it just going to be like local residents or residents in the area? Do we want to put on tournaments? I think we have to figure that out, because there's a lot involved there. And I know that, much to my surprise, there were about 20 or 21 golf courses in the state of Connecticut, 20 or 21 towns in the state of Connecticut that have disc golf courses. And they vary in sizes. Most of them maybe are 18 holes, but some are 9. And as an example, Orange has a 9-hole disc tee golf course. I haven't seen it yet, but I know the tees are on grass. But there are a lot of others around too, more than I thought there would be. There are a lot in Fairfield County. There's some in the eastern part of the state. There's some in the south central part of the state as well. So I think we have to get a sense of that, who's our target audience? And what type of a course do we want to have? What kind of baskets do we want to have? And how do we place them?
How much you want to pay for?
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, because I looked at just components, I mean, I just had a few ideas, like, who's our competition going to be? Guilford Lakes Golf Course, area disc golf courses, statewide, what are our funding sources going to be? Just a whole bunch of
Ongoing
things.
maintenance
Does it have
coverage.
to be a pro course? I mean, this is recreation,
Right.
a recreation course. And I came into that with the pickleball tournament that we ran because we opened it up to outsiders rather than just recreation. And they came in with their tape measures and the whole thing, and it was just ridiculous. And I kept saying, this is a recreational tournament. It's not state, not pro. And it was just really, really difficult. So the clientele that you expect to come, are they going to come with the mentality that it's recreational or big time? I don't know. That's
Well,
what
that's
I
the
ran
challenge.
into with
That's
just
who our
the
target
little
audience
pickleball
has
is.
to be identified as, because, a lot of them, they want to go to courses all over the place. And that's great. I just, I don't know.
What if we could, I mean, I could even do this, something I'm thinking, whether it's the Town of Guilford Facebook page, or some way of just posing a question, maybe? Sort of a survey of sorts to kind of get a temperature of what residents the children, the parents of the community, what kind of feedback
got
would
a
Survey Monkey, when we
Yeah,
were doing
yeah.
Jacobs, so Survey Monkey could be used again.
And I think it would be worth a while, just have an open meeting here some night, or just anybody who's interested in disc golf. Here's a meeting, what do you think? We get your ideas and suggestions.
I noticed a neighbor of mine, and one of his children there was a basket in their garage, and I've seen him actually with it out in the yard. So I was like, aha, I'm going to go to their house as this kind of matures to leverage that, right? Help.
Well, the other thing is, we walked, Mark and Rick and Jack, myself,
And
and
Rose,
Rose
yeah.
walked the area behind the skate park. And we noticed that there were a couple of brooks and water. So I think another component is we have to go to the town resources as far as inland wetlands, or see where our constraints are going to be within our own town, as far as using that area that we're kind of looking at.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of the, I don't want to call them a body of water, but it was a stream, and it wasn't just water that had accumulated from all of the rain and then it was flowing. But there was one, I got home, I looked it up, and the source of it was in a pond off of Long Hill Road. And it's a body of water, a pond, I don't know how big it is, but it was a pond, and that flowed down through the area that we were looking at in a southeasterly fashion and emptied into the West River. And that's a considerable body of water. I wonder about the inlands, wetlands application of that. But equally important, at one point where we walked, we had to go across that pond, that body of water.
Yeah.
And I would say it was challenging at best, because we're walking on stones and we're walking on.
That would have been a good video.
Yeah, and it will be mossy in time, but also it was, in effect, it was a waterfall.
Yeah,
And
it
if
did
you look
drop
down, it's maybe 10 feet or 12 feet. Now, I don't think that should be something that would prevent us from having a golf course run through it, as to quote the movie. But maybe we'd have to put a bridge over it. Well,
Stepping bridge or
I don't
something,
think,
yeah.
you'll see it. You'd see it.
No, I'm just laughing. If we're going to try to do this inexpensively, and then we're building bridges and.
We have to do it
I'm-
right.
Yeah,
We want to
No,
do
I'm
it
just-
right. We want to do it right.
no, you do, but.
I do. I
How-
want to do it right.
Well, there's no way you
We're
can use
just
that
talking,
area.
we
don't-
don't really
I
know
don't go
what
off.
direction we're going
I
in.
think the upshot is we have questions that we need answers to before we can go that next step
Right.
of design.
And that's why I want to
And
have a guy
that's-
come take a look, and,
Having
you know,
to-
I mean, there's a whole nother section in the park that we could look at that doesn't cross any streams at all. You know, maybe that's a better spot. You know, Ben,
maybe it is.
Yeah.
Ben kind of like that area, but this other guy might say, gee, this is,
Yeah.
you know, a
Having
better
them look at it and give us
opportunity.
And, you know, Rick, I just, you know, as we were making that walk, I tried to calculate the distance on my iPhone. And that's not the final word on anything, but I think the distance was like .56 of a mile, half a mile, say, as kind of a circumference. It wasn't an actual circumference, and I even tried to square the circumference in my head to get the area around it, you know. And I started looking around that depending on the number of holes you have, 9 or 18, you need to figure on a certain amount of acreage per hole. And I just don't know how that 5/10 of a mile translates into acres.
Yeah.
You know, and I know you have one, or maybe the police department has one, or maybe Jim Portley has one. You can actually go on the trailer with those little things that you see the police officers do at the accidents. My point is that enough? Would that be enough
Well,
for?
that's what this guy would help us with.
Yeah, well, presumably, but before we get to him, we want to do something like that, just for our purposes. Is that enough acreage to have a 9, much less than 18? I guess there are a whole bunch of things, you know, I'll be glad to reduce them to writing and send them out to everybody on the commission. Just things we have to think about.
Well, and the other thing, you know, I was talking to Mark earlier, that I can contact some of the other towns and find out who they used to design their courses, and what the cost was, and what did it cost to build it, and how much volunteer. You know, I mean, every town's a little different, but we can
Yeah.
at least get some kind of benchmark. And so I could talk to my counterpart in Bristol, Wallingford, there's a big one at Wickham Park. I don't know if I want to compare with
Yeah.
that one. That one's probably the premier one in the state, you know, it's, I may not go there, but I can talk to a few of them and just, you know, I know these guys, and just find out what, you know, who did it. and-
You have to start that.
Yeah.
What's the ongoing, you know, you set it up, but then what's the long-term annual cost to keep it the way it's supposed to be?
Let's us get a better sense of what we want, what we need, though, too. And where's the one in Wallingford?
That's Luckberry Park.
Yeah, but there was another, had another name for it, Mark. Patriots Field, or, I wrote it, no, I can't find it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
And
did notice that Wallingford also has their own private company that opened up a store on downtown called Disc Golf. It's a gift.
Oh, is that
Disc
right?
Golf store.
That's where we bought our disc from, for our golfing, yeah.
Yeah, so if you need all your supplies, this store has all the things that a person would need to go and play if they chose so.
Pretty serious to open a store.
Yeah.
well, maybe that's why Wallingford expanded their disc golf course from 9 to 18 holes. Maybe, you know.
Lots of things to answer.
I mean, it's got great possibilities.
Yeah. Well, like any project, we have to do our due diligence beforehand, so.
So I can, you know, reduce all this to writing and get it to you by the end of the week, Rick, and the commission as well. When Ben left, did we have any outstanding obligations to him in terms of looking forward in the future, in terms of maybe acquiring equipment he has, or Because I know, I think for the disc golf tournament we had at the golf course, we had some kind of an obligation to him, or are we free and clear in terms of?
Yeah, I mean, there's no, he volunteered to get those baskets. He borrowed them from a bunch of friends.
Okay,
He
so we
collected
don't
them.
have to buy it from?
No.
Good.
No.
Okay. 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 So, why don't you go ahead and contact your folks as well?
Yeah.
In fact, I think in Hartford, summer, there's going to be a major Greater Hartford Open disc golf tournament. Echoing the golf course of the past.
Yeah.
Not to, because I almost wasn't going to share this, because I don't want to scare everybody away from this, but the guy I spoke with today, one of the courses he designed, he said they get an average of 300 to 400 people a day on that one. I said, well, we don't want that. We wouldn't have parking. But I guess the point is, it's very popular. I think it's more popular than golf in some cases now, because more people can play it.
It's a bigger basket.
Yeah. Yeah, Warwick, New York is where he is. I don't know if that's where it is, but that's where this guy lives. And Warwick, New York?
I don't know where that
I heard Warwick, Rhode Island, but I don't know that. But he said he's designed courses that are, considered national quality, and he said, I kind of said, I'm not sure that's what we're looking for here.
Yeah, right.
What you guys point out, we're looking
That's
more
what
at
it was.
recreational.
That's, what's our target audience, I guess that's the point.
Right. But I'll find out from some of these other towns who they've used,
Yeah.
and,
Okay, that would be great.
um,
I think they're in the process of developing one East Haddam.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
which surprised me.
That's a good resource, then. Okey-doke.
8D Grass Island Shack, Rick, there was a dedication ceremony?
It's gonna be May 20th. I'll have to get the time to
Oh.
you, but it's coming up in a few weeks. I think I'm meeting tomorrow with John Markowski, the Eagle Scout, at the marina. I think his plan is to have the dedication at the marina, or ceremony. He's asked about using the showmobile, so we're gonna meet up down there, find out, where can we set it up. It's gotta be near where there's power and all that. And
Oh, I'm sorry, just before you go on, I apologize. Mark, just going back to 9C disc golf, any comments or perceptions you had about the walk in Wallingford? Any thoughts? Sorry.
I was just curious, just for my own edification, as to what a layout would look like, and, so So I think people may envision a disc golf course similar to what we all know as a traditional golf course, where it's finely manicured greens and fairways, and that is not at all what we're talking about. This is more of just clear paths through, wide paths, but not like a walking path, but clear paths through woods, and some of them are similar length as a traditional golf course. So you may have a anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 yards in terms of distance if you were to walk all the holes. But it's a traditional wooded area, so there's not the upkeep of mowing and cutting and all that.
A fairway's not a fairway.
Correct. But that's
I'm watching the Masters.
that's the draw, right? That's the appeal of throwing these different sized discs through the woods to ultimately into a basket, just as you kind of would envision. So that was yes, but it served a great purpose. I put my yeah. Yeah, you used a
That waterfall might
I
be a
think,
challenge.
Rick, I think you mentioned, right, the leverage, the benefit of having sort of a natural terrain, rolling hills and up slopes and down slopes. That's kind of what you probably would want. That had it.
It's a challenge for throwing the disc, but it's also a challenge for climbing up those hills, which is good exercise.
Might get a few beads of sweat going.
Sorry. Rick, I'm sorry, back to Grass Island Shack, John Markowski.
So we're gonna meet tomorrow to look at, where we could set the showmobile up from, and then I think he wants to get some boats, if people wanna take a ride across to the shack, after the ceremony. And I think, I don't know if he's working with the Marina Commission on that possibly, but they're supportive of having the dedication event at the marina. Because they told me you need to talk to them, because that's not our responsibility there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna meet there tomorrow, look at a possible location for the showmobile and orientation, so people can see the shack and the showmobile. And I don't, He probably told me the time, but I can't remember right now, but it's May 20th. I'll send an email to you.
Yeah.
He'll probably have a formal invitation, I would think, coming to the commission anyway, yeah.
That's wonderful.
Going forward, does the department or the commission have any ongoing obligations to the,
Really, any of the repairs are really more in the facilities department, and there is money, the money he raised is enough set aside for future repairs. I mean,
oh, is that right?
yeah, he raised considerably more than what he needed to do the work. And that's held in an account at the Guilford Foundation,
Okay,
Wonderful.
okay.
yeah.
Okay, great. 8E, thank you, Judy. Roof replacement?
Yeah, so the day after last meeting, the Tuesday after our last meeting, I went to the building committee with the contractor, the architectural firm. And the building committee wants more information. They didn't approve it. They didn't unapprove it, or not approve it. They didn't approve it.
On what basis?
They want more information. Mostly on the flat roof over here, because that's going to be an alternate anyway. The chance of us having money to do that, we're probably not going to have it.
What do you mean by the flat?
The flat roof
Looking
over
out
the
the window.
hallway, over the corridor.
Oh,
It's like a tar roof with just stone on it. That was always intended to be an alternate anyway, because the cost of this, it's a whole different design for that. The problem is that they have to get a modification from the state to modify that roof. It would have to be done differently because of the insulation requirement now. The code is different now from what it was when it was built in 1992, 93, we opened up. So there are a couple options. One, we don't do anything with it. We've been told by roofing guys that we could probably get another 5 or 10 years out of the roof without having to do anything. Or if there is we've never had any leaks at all, no problems with that roof. If we did have a problem, it's pretty easy to patch with some tar. It's not a major, like you're gonna lose the ceiling or something. So it'll be an alternate anyway. If there's enough money, we'll do it. But even with the alternate, there's a modification they have to get from the state building department because of the code. They have to build up the roof 4 more inches higher than what it is. So it's gonna change the whole look, which we have to go to Historic District Commission. It's gonna look different than what it looks now. And so the building committee wanted to get that information. Is it gonna have to get the modification? Can you get it approved, or would they approve it because it's not been a problem? Would we have to go modify all that? So, I don't know the answer. That's the architect has to get that information. So they didn't have that, and so they wanted to wait till all that information was clear before they approved the plans. They didn't have a lot of other questions on the rest of the roof. They were pretty good, I think, with what their plan to do is there. But that flat roof, there's some issues there, and so.
The building committee makes site walks and site inspections and.
I don't know if they do, they didn't. They were just going on, what the architect is recommending. Yeah.
This is separate from the historic district group.
Yes.
So have we gotten approval from them?
No, that'll be the next step.
That's the next
step.
step.
Yeah.
Versus this is the first step?
Right,
Gotcha.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I made that clear to them, because Jackie, Kathy, you cleared those meetings, and I did tell them they will have to go to the Historic District Commission for approval.
But we're using the similar roof anyway, right?
Yeah.
So they approved it once
Shouldn't be a
unless there's
problem.
been a dramatic change
Right.
in their philosophy or codes or whatever they go by.
They are planning on adding one downspout, I think, again, from the flat roof, because sometimes the door at the hallway that goes out to the courtyard, when we have heavy, heavy rain, the water comes in under that door, because we have so many roof pitches going to that one downspout there, or the gutter, which goes to one downspout, and it just comes over the top sometimes. We were talking about maybe a bigger gutter, a wider one. They thought we didn't need that, just, excuse me, an additional downspout and sloping the gutters in a way so that it'll direct it to another downspout, so it isn't all cascading over that one and getting, under the door there. So that would be a change. That would have to go to the Historic District Commission, because that's a change. It's another downspout we don't have now. It would change the look a little bit. So they're aware of that.
Okay. Already did this one.
9F, you have anything in addition to what's already been said about the Lake Quantapug improvements?
I think we covered it.
Yep.
Okay. I think so. New business, A, it's skate park resurfacing, I'd probably amend it for historical reasons. Pickleball course as well.
Yes. Yeah. So the plan, that's been approved in the budget. That was one of the items in the referendum in the budget. And so the money is there to do it, and we can start anytime because it's bonded. We don't have to wait till July 1st. So we're working with a company to start talking about design, and we've always intended it to be post-tension concrete, which I think I might have mentioned at the last meeting. And it's much more durable than asphalt. The other problem with the asphalt, again, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself from last meeting, but the metal ramps are melting into the asphalt. And I think we looked at it, or did we, you guys saw it from the fence, and we didn't go in, but it's, the metal's below the grade of the asphalt, it's kind of melted into it now, so there's a trip point there, so we've been keeping it locked up, we're not opening it right now. We could patch it, I got a quote for that, like $2,000 or $3,000 to kind of get it open, but I thought, if we're gonna go and redo this whole thing, hopefully within a month or so, it doesn't make sense to spend $2,000 or $3,000 to patch it right now.
Just do it.
So, but what I want to just mention to the commission, and I want your approval to go this direction. I'm thinking of eliminating the drains. The problem, part of the problem we're having, the cracking, is the drains that are there, the piping under the drains. The drains are only there because we used to flood it for ice skating. And we haven't done that in 8 years, probably. And the last time we tried it, we spent $9,000 and we got 1 day of skating. The water was leaking, and we had to get the whole surface repainted. We had to drain it all out, let it get dry. It got, I don't think we repainted at that point. We had to caulk all around it. We had to redo the curbing, caulk around it, and then we had to pay for water because we weren't letting it fill up by rain, just plugging up the drains. And we ended up getting 1 day of skating. And so winters are just so unpredictable. We had no skating this year at all at Mill Pond. I think we had 1 day last year. It was a good idea when we did it. It was built so it's a full hockey rink size. It's 80 feet by 200. That's the dimensions of a hockey rink. But we just never really got a lot of skating there. It just, the sun beats down on that, in the morning sun, and it's better late day, like 4 o'clock and beyond, than it's in the shadows. But even if it's 20 degrees out, the sun's beating on there and it melts the ice. And we can only get 3 or 4 inches of ice max anyway, because it's, just can't, that's the way it is with the curbing there. So if the commission agrees, we would, when we redo it, we would not put drains on it. We would have it graded in a way so that the water runs off, sheds off, probably one way, rather than put the drains back in, because that's where the problems have been. The major crackings where the drains are.
So we're doing that, would that effectively preclude any ice hockey there?
It would.
We have to think about whether there are any ad hoc hockey groups in town, or any informal.
Hockey groups?
Whatever, yeah, you might want to think about that, though. There's a hockey team, a girls' team and a boys' team, or men's team and a women's team, but, when word gets out that we're renovating that area, the skate park and the tennis courts, someone might remember, oh, yeah, gee, we could use that for hockey, too.
To be honest, I've lived here my whole life, and I totally forgot that we ever did that.
Me too, I had no
Until
idea
you
that.
just said it, I totally forgot.
No,
I did
It was
too.
very minimal skating. And then, so what we also
even
had
think
done
I
is we got the
ever used it.
liners at the Guilford Lakes tennis courts. And that worked for a couple of years.
Then it got vandalized, didn't it?
It was vandalized, yeah. People go in, they hop the fence and they throw rocks in there or whatever. And we ended up getting holes in the liner, water was leaking out, and that didn't work very well. Or one year, we were getting starting to get decent ice. Somebody went on the grass and did a donut, sprayed mud all over onto the ice rink. That froze up on there. Now we had frozen mud on there. And then the mud's brown, attracted the sunlight, and it was melting into the ice, and that destroyed it. So, we've tried to do a lot of good things for the people in the community, and sometimes we have not so nice people that counteract what we're trying to do.
If you haven't heard lately, or in some time, any interest in using that park for hockey, and you don't expect it to would be, then you should go ahead and do what you're suggesting.
Yeah,
If that's,
yeah.
yeah.
I think it was worth trying it, we tried it, it just,
Some people have hockey rinks in their backyards.
yeah, right.
Well, historically, we don't have ice either, so
Yeah.
It
that's
hasn't
a big
been,
thing.
Nowadays,
as brutal as the winters have been, it hasn't been good for skating, ironically.
I don't think it was used this winter either.
No, it was not.
The most used is the pickleball and skating, if that cyclically comes back in popularity. So that should be our focus, because that's
Yeah.
the heavy
Yeah.
usage of
I
it.
know there are a few children on my street, some of our neighbors, who they skate all the time. And they mentioned to me just over the weekend, oh yeah, we're going to the skate park. Does Alec, my son, does he want to? And I'm like, what? The skate park's closed. They're like, oh no, we go to Clinton now. So I'm like, oh.
and they've got a nice one. It's small and it's
Oh, yeah.
behind,
Yeah. Yeah, the
Joel's
Joel
school.
School there, yeah, it's
I
in,
said, I let them know, the parents, that we're working on it. It'll be-
Peters Park.
Yeah, no need to leave.
Don't give up on us.
Don't give up on us.
Yeah, although they're having problems with their concrete. I started a Shoreline Parks and Recreation Directors Group a few months ago, and it's Clinton, Madison, Guilford, and Branford. And we met in Branford last month, and next time we're meeting in Madison. I hosted the first one here. And we're all part of our state professional association, but we have issues on the shoreline that they don't have in New Britain or, inland. We have shoreline issues. And so we kind of, we're not a formal group, we just meet, we just meet, have breakfast, and but we were talking about skate parks, and Bo Potter, the director in Clinton, was telling me they're having problems with their concrete one, and he was asking what we use, and ours is metal. I said, they say it has a 20-year life. We're in our 13th year right now, I think. Yeah, in 2004 we built it. So we're in our 13th year. So, I said it's holding up, and it's getting some rust and everything. We do have to repaint it periodically, but Branford has their skate park. They're going to be rebuilding, because they're expanding. Their senior center is moving to their community center. So they're adding on to their building. They're going to need the parking. So their skate park is right there in their parking lot. They're moving it to another place. And so we all talked about that. And we all know that, skateboarding it does kind of come and go. It's not, right now, maybe we're in a little bit of downward trend. I think that when we resurface there, it'll pick up again. So what I told Bo Potter, he said, I'm getting some conflicting ideas that, we're having problems with the ramps. Should we replace them? Should we just close it down? And I said, well, look, here's one thing you can look at, is that if we're going to resurface a tennis court, nobody seems to bat an eye over that. And the most you can have on a tennis court is 4 people. And you spend $100,000 redoing a tennis court. At a skate park, you could have 20 or 30 kids there. Granted, you may not right now, but what are we going to send message to the kids in the community that we care about you, we want to have a place for you guys to go? And that's what we've done with our skate park, and that's why it got built in the first place, because people were jumping off steps, and kids were all over the place downtown. Is it the most ideal situation for us in Guilford? No, it's hard for the kids to get to. It's the only place we could build it when we did. And when we first opened it, we were getting 100 kids on a weekend up there. We clearly were getting kids, and we ran some events, and we brought in bleachers, and the parents sat on the bleachers, and we had lights, and we had music, and we did like special events, and we'd have 80 kids in a contest. We'd run a guy for the X Games, and he would do demonstrations and be a judge for the contest. I don't see any reason we can't do that again. I think once we resurface it, we can. Then we have a pickleball tournament there too on the other side.
And please, let's make sure that the courts are exactly right.
We'll have them lined right. And we're also,
You should have to be the construction supervisor that year.
No,
Bring your
not
tape
me
measure.
with the
Yeah.
tape measure, but
Well, no.
believe me, any of the participants, they all had their tape
Well, good.
measures, and
They should.
it was ridiculous.
we're also considering commission's approval, maybe putting a couple basketball hoops up there on the pickleball side.
Not near the pickleball side.
On the ends. Well, we can't put it in the other parks, we got ramps. But it would just make that more of a multi-use facility. It's gonna be a nice thing, it should be there for many, many years, and if ever skateboarding goes, by the wayside, and, we have to get through the 20 years with those ramps, we just, at that point, we got another nice big flat area, if we wanna make more pickleball courts, or basketball, or tennis, or something,
I think putting
we would be able to do
basketball
it.
hoops At the pickleball end,
Yeah.
I mean, that would build an inherent conflict, though, in use.
Well, they couldn't play at the same time, you know, but,
Who
you know,
decides that?
Whoever gets there first.
yeah. You know, or if it's
Unless we have
or if it's
scheduled-
a structured pickleball
Park and
program.
rec.
We're committed to pickleball.
Yeah.
You know.
Park and rec
Yeah.
scheduled things. I have to say, that was nice up there until it really got cracked and whatever. But it's, having the 4 courts down at Adams have been key.
Yeah,
Because we can get 16 people going.
Mhm.
At times we have.
yeah.
Did someone resolve the issue of being disoriented by the different colors of the lines, or is that just a one-off situation?
Yeah,
Somebody
there
was-
were a few people concerned with the orange lines,
Yeah.
but we were very happy with them.
Yeah, okay,
Could see them.
yeah, okay.
If you go to the synthetic turf field at the high school, you talk about lines, they're all
Lines.
over the place.
This is probably a silly question I know the answer to, but what about the high school courts up there? Could a couple of those ever have additional lines put on for pickleball as well?
We've
No.
met with some resistance for that, we've talked about that. I think especially if they're having CIAC tournament, you know, they're having, that could be a little hard.
I knew the answer.
Their competition, yeah.
Even though we maintain those courts?
Yeah,
You know?
once again.
So anyway, that's the skate park news. Hopefully we'll be moving forward with that. And the company we're working with has a state bid, or a CREC is, I forget what the acronym is, but it's a state bid number. If they have a state bid number, you don't even have to go out to bid. They've already been vetted by the state, and you can just go directly to that particular company. And so we're working on getting specifications to get a clearer idea of what we think the cost is gonna be. I mean, we have a budget number, we wanna now have them come look at it and give us a firm quote, and then we'll decide if we're gonna.
That's great, Rick, what you said about the youth. You know, how things come and go every year. It's important to, just like disc golf too, you know, it's important to see if our youth in town, if that's a popular thing right now, because it does give the kids somewhere to go and something to
Right.
do. It's important.
Yeah.
The town of Madison, as you probably know, has actually taken down its skateboard park, which was on the eastern side of town, near the Arts Barn, and the town
Oh, yeah, by
came.
the police department, right, wasn't it? Yeah.
You know, and now they've deposited it at the surf club. And I don't think they've reconstructed it yet.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
No.
and it's-
Yeah,
it's
Scott
like
was
in one
not
big
at our last
pile.
meeting.
Which should be interesting in terms of parking,
Yeah,
football games.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Last but not least, the 9B annual report.
I submitted that to you, so you see it, it's what we handed in.
And it goes into which, does it go into the, which document does it go into? Which document does it become a part of?
The archives for 2000.
No.
The town has an annual report that they
that's
compile
what I
together
mean.
from all the different
Yeah.
departments, and it goes into that.
Okay. What about like-
Something like that, yeah, it's bound pretty much like that, yeah. So I gave it for you, just to see what we wrote in there, and, you see a lot of different numbers, especially, I did a summary on the last page there, the statistics, 625 classes, 20,000 participation, number of beach passes sold, boat racks, summer camps, all fitness classes, 2,500 people in fitness classes throughout the year. Meals, 32,360 meals, it's all in there, and the number of fields we maintain.
Well, Rick, I mean, it's useful for us as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the commissioners, because when we walk around, we can bring this with us and people are always asking questions.
Yeah.
Or they hear something, oh, I didn't know you had 40 fields to take care of, or.
Yeah.
Do they put this on the website for the community center?
Is this on our website? No.
No, we want.
I could see if Ellen can put it
What
up.
publicity would.
I mean,
Right.
if, people do use our website, and this certainly, when you look at this last page, I mean, it's
Yeah.
great to read all the
Yeah.
subtle nuances of everything, but when you look at the stats.
Well, like
at it-
40 fields, I've lived in town all my life, and I don't ever realize there was
No,
40
it's-
fields.
It's
Seriously.
incredible what
That
everyone
sounds
does.
sad that I didn't know that, but
Well, unless you have a place to go look at it, you
Yeah,
don't know.
it's a
But this,
lot.
this is really.
It is.
It
This
is.
is a wonderful thing, and everybody who's participated in this has worked hard, and they should get the accolades for people to be able to see
Yep.
that they've done all this, that you all do this and create all this. And,
From a pragmatic
If it can be
sense,
an-
budget time is very important.
yeah, but I think it's a great resource
Yeah,
for
it is.
people to go on our website and see what we do at the Parks and Recreation Commission Department. So if we can put it on, it would be nice to be able to have that.
Rick, in line with that, and for what it's worth, I mean, could you have a quantity made to give to the travel kiosk people? They might want to know.
Oh, sure.
The worst that could happen is that nobody takes them, but still.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody will see it, somebody will read it, and somebody will talk about it.
Sure, I can talk to the people who schedule the workers there. Yeah.
Toot our horn a
Quick,
little.
shut off the electricity.
Shamelessly plug us.
We pay our electric, you toot our horn. No, that would be great to have it on there, because I think it'd be wonderful for people to really see what you all do, that is an incredible job.
I mean, my eyes have been open since I've been on this committee. I mean, like I said, I'm here all my life, and I always know you guys do a great job, but I had no idea when you see the behind the scenes.
The
extent of it, it's amazing.
Diane, you're not alone.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Really
All
is.
we do is play checkers all the time.
Not mahjong.
Well, and you know what it also echoes is that the perception sometimes is that community center is a senior center.
Right.
And this clearly demonstrates
Right.
seniors have a great part in this,
Yeah.
but it is not a senior center. It is from preschool to the elders,
Yep.
as high as you can go,
Exactly,
and everything in between, and it really highlights that.
exactly.
I'm here just as much as Rose is.
Yeah, maybe more.
Rose and I are in a competition, who's here more?
And Judy's here a lot. For a long time, I battled the concept that this was a senior center. And when it was being built, people called it the Taj Mahal for the seniors. And I battled it for a long time, but I changed a little bit. I said, well, you know what, it is a senior center. It's also a preschool center, a fitness center, a teen center. It's a center for everybody. Certain times of the day, a dominant group might be seniors, it might be preschoolers, it might be people in an exercise class. And at night, it's a center for meetings, because, like right now, most of what's in here now are meetings. Probably that's all that's in here now. Aerobics probably just ended 10 minutes ago. So it's a center identified for everybody, for all ages and all
That's a
needs.
great way of conceptualizing it.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start saying that too, Rick.
Yeah.
You know?
Total
That's what makes it a
participation.
community center.
Yeah.
Like, that's what people need to understand, that's what makes it a community center, that it is preschool, that it is senior, that it is
Exactly.
fitness.
It touches all ages and all interests. And when you say total participation, 20,000,
I know. It's
that's
extraordinary.
just
I mean,
amazing.
that's counting on camps,
32,360
That doesn't
meals.
matter.
So,
We can't undersell ourselves.
no.
Yeah.
27,000 individuals-ish in the
22,000.
population.
About 22.
Like
22.
22, so you think about,
Between 22 and
That's-
23.
Now, 20,000.
20,000.
Doesn't mean 20,000 different people. That's a
Right.
participation level.
Participation.
Jackson 5 classes, he counts 5. He's 5 participants. Yeah.
People walk in the doors.
I keep repeating the same class.
Jack and Rose are suing the numbers.
Remedial English.
You keep flunking.
That's 101.
Yeah. Second?
All in favor?
We
We don't
We're
have, we don't have a vote. We don't have a.
Are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay.
Thanks, Peter.